This is a special assembly today, and I know that some of you are counting down the number of days of school, and the 8th graders in front have a smaller number than the rest of us. But after school's out, and probably you've already been swimming, but there'll be a lot more swimming taking place, and some of you swim in pools, some of you have lakes, or maybe even the ocean. Lots of different places to go swimming. And probably you've been swimming so many times in your life that you don't really think of the potential dangers involved. But today's assembly on Great Lakes water safety will help us understand some of these dangers. 2 years ago, 3 Wheaton Christian Grammar School girls were former students. They were 20 years old, were swimming in Lake Michigan at one of the Indiana beaches. And they were just on their way to Michigan, just decided to take a quick dip, cool off before they finished their way to Grand Rapids. But because of the strong currents involved that we're going to learn about today, one of them did not make it to shore safely. Froese, Luke's sister, graduated from the grammar school in 2009, and her parents are paying for this assembly today. Praying that we will learn how to be smart swimmers and safe swimmers. So after I pray, I'm going to turn things over to Bob. Dave Benjamin is also here.
Hello.
They represent Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project. And so they're here today, and after I pray, I'll turn things over to Bob. Father, we do thank you for today. We thank you for this day that you have made. We also thank you for water. We know we need water to live, to survive, and we can do fun things and have a great time with water as well. But we know there are dangers involved, and I pray that as we listen closely today, that we could learn some things that maybe even save our lives. We also continue to pray for the Froese family as they continue to grieve the loss of Chase, a girl whose face always has a smile on it, and upward and onward was her theme. And we just thank you so much for that family, her life, and we think of her in the presence of you today. Be especially close to that family. Thank you so much for this presentation, and help Bob as he talks to us today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Bob Pratt. I'm the Director of Education for the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project. We're a nonprofit organization that travels all over the Great Lakes regions, putting on a wide variety of presentations to a wide variety of audiences. We are very thankful to be here today, but we are heartbroken for the reason that we're here today. And it's in Chase's honor that we will talk about water safety today, and it is our deepest desire that no other family have to go through the kind of devastation that the Froeses have had to go through. So our goals for today. This is the Chicago area from the space shuttle. I want you to look at water safety a little bit differently than you may have in the past. And the space shuttle allows us to look back and to see Lake Michigan from afar. And I want you to notice how big Lake Michigan is. Because Lake Michigan really is more like an inland sea than it is a lake. And it has certain dangers that are associated with it that we're going to talk about today. There'll be 2 overarching ideas that we're going to talk about today. One is that knowledge is power. We need to teach you about the information you need to know in order to keep yourself safer around the water. And I use the word safer specifically because the other overarching idea that we're going to talk about today is that safety is a continuum. And I think we've done a poor job of explaining to you about safety because we tend to frame it as an all or nothing situation. Either something you do is safe and you can do it, or something is unsafe and you shouldn't do it. And nothing could be further from the truth. Mr. Benjamin and I love Lake Michigan. I absolutely love Lake Michigan and the recreational opportunities that it provides for us. The 5 Great Lakes have 80% of the world's fresh water. I am out in the water as much as I can. I surf and windsurf and stand-up paddleboard and kayak and do all these things that give me so much joy, and yet at the same time, the lakes still give us so much tragedy. So we're going to talk about safer behavior, choices that you can make that allow you to be safer. When you get in your cars on the way home from school today, you make a choice to put on your seatbelt. It seems like it's automatic, but it really is a choice. And as you get older and you start driving, not texting while you're driving is a choice that you make. And it moves you down this continuum towards safer behavior. My background is in the fire service. I was a firefighter paramedic in Michigan for 30 years. I love the work. If you're looking for a job, if you're looking for a career, being a paramedic firefighter is one of the best jobs in the world. And you may think, why are we talking about fire? I thought we were talking about water. They're completely opposite. But there's a lot of things that we can learn, especially about the safety continuum that firefighters apply every single day, and that you can apply to some of the recreational things. So if I want to be a firefighter, it's a dangerous thing. So how can I protect myself? How can I best protect myself from those dangers? I'm going to wear a full complement of what we call PPE, personal protective equipment. A coat and pants and boots and a helmet. And I'm going to take my own air in with me because that protects me from the heat and the flames. And then I'm going to learn everything that I can about fire behavior. I'm going to learn everything that I can about fire science. And you may have heard the fire triangle, right? You need heat, and you need fuel, and you need oxygen. Okay? And knowing those allow you to be safer. We've done a great job of teaching you about fire safety, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But I want to put these same kinds of ideas toward a recreational opportunity. This is our executive director. This is Dave Benjamin. Yes, these are icicles hanging from his hood because we go surfing in the wintertime in the south end of Lake Michigan when the waves are best. But if we're going to choose to do that dangerous behavior, there are things that we need to do that allow us to do that in the safest manner possible. And it's very similar to firefighting. I need to protect myself from the elements, so I'm going to wear a wetsuit. I need to have flotation device. If you guys remember one word from today's presentation, that word needs to be float. Because when it comes to drowning prevention, floating is the most important part. And if you can float, you can stay alive. And if you can provide flotation to someone who's in trouble in the water, you can keep them alive. My surfboard is a huge flotation device. It has plenty of enough flotation for 2 or 3 or 4 people. It is so important that I actually wear a leash that attaches to my ankle to my board. So if I fall off my board, when I fall off my board, I'm always within 10 feet of it. Because flotation is the key. And then we study the weather patterns. We learn about these dangerous currents that we're going to talk about. And we understand how these different currents happen in different days and different weather patterns. Drowning is a huge, huge problem. Drowning is the leading cause of accidental death in kids 1 to 4. If you have little brothers or little sisters that are 1 to 4, nothing kills more of them accidentally than drowning does. And we're going to learn some myths about drowning. We're going to learn why that is and how you can help us to prevent that. Drowning is the second leading cause of accidental death in people 14 and under. Drowning is a huge problem. 80% of our drownings are male. 4 out of 5 drownings are boys and men. Because we take risks, because we don't understand the dangers, and we think we are bigger and stronger than we actually are. The other thing is we try to impress people. We try to impress our friends. We dare our friends, hey, come on, let's go jump off the pier. Unfortunately, this is a really dangerous time for pier jumping. And we lost someone last week in Lake Ontario who jumped on one of the piers. You think you're going to go cool off because the air is it's like 82 degrees out. It's crazy out there today. But the water is still in the 50s. And if you jump off the pier into that ice cold water, it can incapacitate even the best of swimmers. Drowning is a huge, huge problem. I want to talk about some of the myths of drowning. One of the big myths about drowning is that I know how to swim, I'm on the swim team, I'm one of the best swimmers in the state, I don't need to worry about drowning because it's not going to happen to me because I'm a great, great swimmer. This is Tate Ramsden, Division I college swimmer for Dartmouth University. Drowned in 4 feet of water. Another myth. Oh, the water's really shallow, so I don't need to worry about it. You just stand up. Knowledge is power, and Tate Ramsden didn't understand the dangers of shallow water blackout. You should never try to swim as far as you can underwater. You should never have a contest to see who can hold their breath the longest in the water. If you're a swimmer, you should know about shallow water blackout. You should know how dangerous it is to swim repetitive sets, swimming underwater. You may be at the other end of the spectrum. You may be saying, you know, Mr. Pratt, I'm not on the swim team. I don't know how to swim. I don't like to swim. I don't go to the beach. I don't go to the pool. I'm not going to drown because I don't even like to drink water. More than half of the drownings that happen in the United States are people who never intend to get in the water in the first place. 400 to 600 people every year in the United States drown in their vehicles. When their vehicles slide off the roadway, when their vehicles are swept off the roadway by a flash flood. People who are walking along the pier, this is the Grand Haven Pier in Michigan. These two people in blue decided that they were going to ride their bicycles down the pier out to the lighthouse. Knowledge is power, and if you know that it only takes 3 inches of water to knock you off your feet or to knock you off your bicycle, that allows you to make the safer choice of not taking your bicycle down on the pier and having it wash into the lake. The young lady's bike is actually in the lake here. Thankfully, they were both recovered. Knowledge is power, and if you understand that 6 inches of water can move a car, you make the safer choice of not driving your car through moving water. Knowledge is power. We've done a great job of teaching you about fire safety. As fire marshal for the city of East Lansing, I proctored on thousands of fire drills. You guys do fire drills every year, right? You do defend in place drills. You do tornado drills. Do you guys do earthquake drills here? Some places in Indiana do earthquake drills. Drowning will kill more people than fire, lightning, tornadoes, school shooters, and earthquakes combined. We need to do a better job of teaching you the information that you need to have to keep you safe when you're around the water. Everything that I learned as a paramedic firefighter, I boil down into 2 rules. And I share these 2 rules with every group that I talk to. I was in northern Michigan last week at the EMS Expo teaching paramedics and firefighters about water safety, and I shared these 2 rules with them. And I'll share them with you. The 2 rules are: rule number 1, don't panic. Panic never helps any situation. And then rule number 2, know how to survive. We've done a really good job of teaching you how to survive in a fire situation. For example, everybody, what do you do when your clothes catch on fire? What number do you call if you have an emergency at your house? What do you do if you're drowning? Don't panic. Rule number 1, don't panic. We're going to give you a strategy for dealing with it. You know how to survive those fire situations. We need to do a better job teaching you about the water situation. Don't panic. Don't panic. Panic never helps any situation. Panic is always a bad, bad influence. And panic in a drowning situation is even worse. Panic never helps anybody. Let me put it in a context. Maybe you guys are 8th graders? Okay. You're still coming to school next week, right? No. Tomorrow? You're coming to school tomorrow. You You walk into your first hour class tomorrow, and you sit down and you're like, oh, it's hot out. We're almost done. Spring is coming. And your teacher goes, sit in your seats, pull out a pencil. We're having a pop quiz. Pop quiz? My God, are you serious? We're having a pop quiz? The last day, we're having a pop quiz? Oh my God, oh, we're having a pop quiz? Did you hear that? I need a pencil. What's up? I didn't study. Oh my God, we're almost on break. I need a pencil. We're having a pop. Oh my, oh my, I can't breathe. How well are you going to do on that test? You're going to bomb that test. Is it because you don't know the material? No. No, it's because when you panic, you can't access the part of your brain that contains the necessary information that you need to access. When you're panicking in the water, it's even worse. Because as I start to breathe faster, and as my heart starts beating a little bit faster, I think I can't breathe, my chest is tightening up. And the reason that I think that I can't breathe is because I'm actually exhaling all of my air out of my lungs. And let me give you a hint. I don't think it's going to happen. But if it does happen that tomorrow morning you walk in and there's a pop quiz, this is what I want you to do. Everybody, I want you to take a nice deep breath in. Notice how that calms you down, that helps to control that panic. In a drowning situation, the most important word is float. And the thing that allows you to float better is the air that's in your lungs. So when I go, I'm filling my lungs up with air and I'm going to float better. That's going to allow me to control that panic more. Swimming is a great skill. Everybody should learn how to swim. How many of you have had swimming lessons before? Awesome. That makes you much safer around the water, but it doesn't guarantee that you're not going to have problems in the water. It's super, super important that you understand the difference between swimming in a pool that's always flat, that's always clear, that's always warm, it's always 25 yards from one side of the pool to the other. The bottom is always flat. There are no hills in the pool. There may be a slope into a deep end, but there are no hills or holes in the pool. When you go to the lakes, it's a completely different situation. When you go to the lakes, the water can be deep, it can be cold, there are hills we call sandbars, and we're going to talk about them in a little bit. The lake is a different type of animal. Speaking of different types of animals, I love this time of year. I love this time of year because the ducklings and the